guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here, and welcome back to an all-new Avengers Endgame video. Now, due to obvious copyright reasons, we are not going to be showing any of the leaked footage or anything like that within this video, so if Disney are watching this video applies fully to fair use, as everything within this video is transformative. We do not show the leaks physically within this video, we're just talking about them for news and informational purposes. A huge spoiler warning for anyone watching this. Obviously, just click off if you don't want to see spoilers, as this will ruin your experience. If you want to see all of these deaths for when you actually watch the movie, I suggest clicking off this video right now. However, I know I can't control some of you guys, and some of you guys are just excited to see any of the spoilers and you don't care about that. So today I want to go through two of the big deaths. This is a description of what happens within these scenes. So there is a lot of time travel involved within the quantum realm, as our characters do build their own Infinity Gauntlet, just for a bit of context for what is going on. Now, within the first act, we managed to defeat Thanos soon after the events of Infinity War, and Thor manages to behead him. After the title card, we learn that the movie is set 5 years after the events of Infinity War. During this time, Tony Stark marries Pepper, and he also has a child. So he has finally been able to live a normal life. So that's just a bit more context. So when going through the quantum realm, there is a scene in which Natalie does die. So I'll describe that for you guys right now. They go after these stones. Nebula flies with the Guardian ship, Rhodey, Natalie, and Clint to Vormir. Natalie and Clint drop them off to get the Power Stone and go for the Soul Stone with the ship. Natalie unfortunately dies here to collect the Soul Stone, so they go to meet Red Skull from Infinity War, and essentially Gamora 2.0 happens here, because Clint and her fought over who is the one to die, because both obviously want to make the sacrifice, both don't want to lose the other, but she manages to rip herself away from his grasp and falls as he is holding on to her. She dies and is never seen again within the movie. Clint is very distraught within this scene, it's very emotional. In 2014, Nebula and Gamora are still loyal to Thanos. In a conversation between them, Nebula's neutral interface turns on by itself and shows a memory of current events because it is connected with her interface in the future. Thanos then takes her prisoner because he doesn't trust her, and her interface is tapped by Thanos. He sees everything going on in the future, including his death. He, old Gamora, and Nebula travel to the Power Stone planet and take Nebula prisoner. Old Nebula switches a golden faceplate and new Nebulas to impersonate her, and goes back to 2023 with the Power Stone. Okay, so the next thing that happens is Tony Stark is the one who next dies. He is the one who sacrifices himself and finally manages to defeat Thanos, but this is a past Thanos that has came to the present. I don't know, it's confusing. It will make a lot more sense if you've seen the actual movie, and Tony Stark is the one to make that sacrifice, which unfortunately leads to his death, which is really sad because he managed to pick up his life and he is the one who makes the final sacrifice, even though he finally managed to get his life back together with Pepper and having a kid. War Machine and Nebula were meant to teleport together, but War Machine only succeeded. Present Nebula and past Nebula meet and fight, and past Nebula takes a place to go back to the present. All members go back to the present and everyone is devastated by Natalie's death. Tony and Bruce construct the Infinity Gauntlet and Thor wants to wield it, but Hulk goes instead as he's the strongest one, and the stones emit gamma radiation according to him. He wields it and snaps his fingers, restoring all life lost. Clint's wife calls him on mobile. Hulk suffers extreme pain in his right arm due to the Infinity Gauntlet. Anyways, it goes on to say past Nebula activates the quantum teleporter for Thanos' ship with his army and him from 2014 and blast the Avengers HQ to ruins with missiles. Hulk lifting up rubble similar to Secret Wars cover where he lifts up a whole mountain, except this is less in film. The others don't know because Tony sealed off the room for the snap. Thanos comes through the portal and old Nebula destroys it. Thanos then destroys the Avengers facility with one blast. This is where the final battle starts and takes place. So although the Avengers managed to defeat Thanos within the very first act as Thor beheads him, this is a past Thanos that has came forward to the future that they fight. I don't know, it's kind of confusing, but that is just what happens. New Nebula convinces Gamora to free her and they fight and kill old Nebula. Rhodey and Rocket are nearly killed by underground floods, but Scott saves them. Clint finds the gauntlet underground and carries it around, not putting it on, always on the run from Thanos' army, and is chased by Outriders. Thor, Tony, and Steve fight Thanos. Thor has his armor back on, his beard braided and looks much better. Thor is losing against Thanos even though he has the Stormbreaker and his hammer. Thanos is about to kill Thor when Cap lifts up his hammer and beats Thanos with his hammer and shield. Thanos uses his double blade weapon to kill Captain Shield in half. Thanos summons his whole army, including the Black Order and some new creatures. Captain is all all by himself against a whole army. He hears Sam's voice and he turns around and sees everyone who has vanished, plus huge armies of Wakandans, sorcerers and Asgardians. No signs of Warrior 3. The Dusted comes back through a lot of Strange's portals from wherever they were dusted. They do not get resurrected with these portals, they just appear where they died, and Strange and co bring them to the Avengers facility through the portals. T'Challa, Shuri, and OKA bring the Wakanda army with them. Peter reveals that they all don't know what has happened except for Strange. For the Dusted, no time has passed. Steve says Avengers assemble, and then an epic fight ensues. This is the big one. This is where a lot of people cried when viewing the early footage of this. Tony and Peter take a moment for a reunion. Wong, Valkyrie, Wasp, and Pepper Potts as rescue turns up as well. So Pepper Potts is wearing the Iron Man suit, and Ant-Man becomes Giant Man. The goal here is to get the gauntlet to Scott's van, which is somewhere on the battlefield, so they can bring the stones back and undo Thanos' new attack. But Clint passes the Infinity Gauntlet to Black Panther and then Spider-Man. Quill meets past Gamora and gets hit in the balls, not believing he is the one she loves. Scarlet Witch overpowers Thanos, but Thanos orders missiles to hit everyone, including his forces. Captain Marvel shows up to destroy Thanos' flagship and gets the Infinity Gauntlet and dashes towards the goal. There is a bit where Hope and Scott go to the van with the quantum teleporter in the middle of the battlefield. All the female Marvel characters fight Thanos. Spidey's armored suit goes auto-kill mode with the extra arms. Thanos tries to take the gauntlet off Marvel by headbutting her, but it doesn't phase her. It includes an awesome scene where basically all female fighters on the field carry the gauntlet part of the way, but they all have a hand in carrying it there. They fail though. Thanos puts the gauntlet on and Tony stops him from using it after Strange showed him with one finger up motion that this is the only way, since obviously within Infinity War, Strange did look into the future. He knows that there is only one possible outcome that will work to defeat Thanos, all others will result in failure. That one possible outcome is Tony Stark using the gauntlet. If anyone else tries or any other event happens instead, they will fail. Thanos retrieves the gauntlet away from Stark and he snaps his fingers. Nothing happens. The stones go to Stark, and before he snaps his fingers, there is a white flash of light. All of Thanos' forces turn to dust, including Thanos himself. So he kills all of Thanos' army and Thanos, but in doing so, he burns himself and he dies. This is a very emotional scene where Tony Stark dies. A lot of people did cry when seeing this. Thanos dies sitting sadly on the ground. Tony dies after Peter, Pepper, and Rhodey say goodbye to him. Pepper is lying right by him as he is pretty much just laying there with no emotion on his face. Tony dies in Pepper's arms from using the gauntlet. Everyone mourns. The battle is won, but at a cost. That's going to be definitely the saddest part of this film. There is then a funeral held for Tony Stark. A holographic Tony gives a message to everyone present, including his daughter, so he most likely recorded that before he was dead. A wreath with Tony's chest reactor is laid to rest at the lake near Tony's hut. Everyone is present, including all of the Guardians of the Galaxy: Peter, Maria, Ross, Nick, and Hank, and Janet. Happy speaks as well as Pepper, and after the funeral is a touching scene with Happy and Tony's daughter. Pepper plays some bath video showing Tony saying goodbye. He recorded it before they go for the stones, which is very, very sad. General Ross and Hank Pym cameos, no Betty in the whole movie. Thor, still fat, designates Valkyrie as queen of New Asgard in Tonsberg. So as you guys know, Thor became depressed in between Infinity War because of the tragic event that happened and Endgame, and he became fat, and we saw that within the leaked footage. So Thor is now traveling with the Guardians of the Galaxy to find Gamora and maybe more Asgardians. Quill and Thor are about to fight for leadership, lol. So apparently Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, so we'll most likely see that within a future movie. We do know Thor 4 is on the horizon, so maybe that's going to be what that plot is. Scott, Cassie, and Hope are together again. Wakanda is back with his king. So now the ending. Now this is the most confusing thing, and a lot of people aren't going to like this ending because it's really weird. After the funeral, the ending ends with Captain America going back on a mission to put back the stones and Thor's hammer to the proper places. Hulk says to Sam and Bucky that he should be back in 5 seconds. Bucky knows he's not coming back. They say goodbye for long, while Sam and Bruce think he'll be back in seconds. However, Captain America does not return. Sam then sees an old man at a bench near them, and it's old man Steve, who looks like Clint Eastwood now, but less wrinkles and a bit younger than he is, laughing out loud. Steve has a wedding ring ring and passes his shield to Sam. Sam is honored. Steve says he stayed in the past with a girl, but he won't say who. The ending then pans to a window, which shows young Captain America dancing with Peggy at their house, revealing who the girl was. And that is the ending of Endgame. So essentially, it's a massive time loop. Captain America went back in time and married Peggy. As you guys know, Peggy had found a husband after Captain America was frozen in ice. Well, the husband was Captain America all along, and right now there are a lot of plot holes with this. It doesn't really make much sense, and I think it won't make much sense until a while from now. Even when the movie is released, it will make a bit more sense, but right now there are a lot of plot holes. Well, as you guys know, Captain America did kiss Peggy's niece. What the fuck? But yeah, Captain America closed his time loop essentially. Now this ending is going to be very controversial because it is very, very weird, and as we were saying, there are still a lot of things that don't make much sense with this. There are tons of plot holes that don't make any sense, but let me know what you think down in the comment section down below of this ending. The fact that Captain America went back in time and was Peggy's husband all along. It's just essentially closing a massive time loop. All of the events of him getting frozen and joining the Avengers and stuff like that all still happen, but this happens at the same time as he goes back in time. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.